Hello, my name is Jermaine. I'm your host of the May No Doubt show, and I would like to welcome you all to the show this morning. It's always a pleasure to be here, and you know, I just got a lot of things that has been going on. I'm glad to be back. I took a little, seemed like a trip around the world, but it's not really. I had to go, kind of Midwest, and then Midwest to South, and then back up here to the North. So overall, it was kind of like an adventure run. But I am back, and you know, I would like to talk about I don't know. Anyway, being the fact that it seems like everybody know, I'm going to talk about I don't know. Okay, and I would also like to talk about why. Why is always one of those tricky question words, which lead to a whole bunch of other different things. But as I can say, you know, as I was gone, I got to see a lot of people, friends, and whatever, family, and I really enjoyed myself. That was one of the good things, even though I was only able to see them briefly, but I was actually able to, mix and mingle with people I haven't seen in a lot of years, which was really nice. So, anyway, um, we're going to tap into I don't know. Now, most of the time, people are out searching for answers from different sources, different people, or whatever. And a lot of people, instead of them saying, they don't know, they would rather feed you any information just to make it seem like they are, in the know of whatever it may be. So therefore, your resources can be kind of confusing, and you may not come up with a solid answer that you're really looking for. So me, on the other hand, you would possibly hear me say I don't know quite frequently, because if I say I don't know, then therefore it will give you a opportunity to actually go and do a little bit of research on your own. See, if you're doing research on your own, then it makes it, your own efforts to actually have a better understanding of whatever given situation it may be. So, if by chance somebody comes to search for information from you, right, and you really don't know the answer. I mean, sometimes, you may know the answer to somebody else's dilemma, but you can only give them a partial answer based on, the amount of information that you have in your own brain. But if you honestly tell a person you don't know, then it doesn't mean that you are stupid or ignorant or anything like that. It just leaves way. So if it is a topic of your liking, then you can do the research on it also. So being in the area, or the gray area of not knowing, can be very beneficial for you and the other person, instead of feeding them false information. Now, there are a lot of times where, not knowing will actually make you feel very bad, because it puts people in a state of embarrassment, and you really have to be, so deeply into your emotions to feel embarrassed by not knowing something. So, I mean, some people, instead of, saying I don't know, they would rather make up a lie just to cover up the fact that they think somebody's really expecting the answer from them. Now, I know there are given situations, and a lot of people think that these lies is going to actually make up for anything that they could possibly, you know, be or lack of maybe the skills to be able to do a certain thing. So they will make up a lie to fill in the gap, so they don't look bad. But I mean, in my eyesight, I prefer you, through your own eyes to look bad than to, make up a lie to cover up for the lack of skills thereof. So I feel like if you can possibly just say, hey, I don't know, that relieves a lot of stress off of your brain. I mean, just to be in that moment and truly say, I don't know, makes you feel better. And then therefore there's no explanation, there's no lies, and you stay truthful with people, and people grow to respect you because of the fact of you taking the time out to truly and honestly say, I don't know. Now, everybody wants to know, and everybody wants to know everything, and everybody, claim that they know regardless of what. And for all of those people that like to know, go ahead, know it all, but in the ending effect of whatever it may be, right? It's going to be proven that you really don't know if you don't have the skills or whatever it may be. A lot of people, even my kids, they tell me, I know. It's fine. It's truly fine if you really believe you know. Now, a lot of people say, I know, and people have been doing that since they were in school. Because you'll see people raising, I know, right? But that was the excitement of being a kid. But then now people say, I know, but they truly don't know. And so they go fishing for information from other sources just to see if they are correct. So they go and do comparison, basically notes versus notes, or mental notes, more or less. So I think for everybody to want to know, or that claim that they know, I say the best to you all. But if you don't know, then it will be revealed at the end. Now, beside that, I just wanted to tap into a source of quick thought. The quick thought is like I think about all the things that people say. I mean, you got everything out here that's unhealthy for you, and truthfully, I mean, you could drink, you got drugs, you got all this other stuff, but a lot of things that's on the market nowadays, like chewing gum. It used to have real sugar in it. I mean, I guess as a backup to that, you have people with diabetes. Okay, diabetes is, it's major, and you can go blind from it. But so they have these artificial sweeteners. One from a long time ago, Sweet and Low. Had, I can't remember exactly what it was that was in it, but that causes cancer. And you got Equal, or Equal lookalikes, or whatever, which has aspartame in it. And that aspartame, I did a study. I read up on it off the internet, and what happened is they sent a lot of diet sodas and stuff over to I think it was the first Gulf War or something like that over in and I think it was in Libya, somewhere over there. And all this diet soda, they say once aspartame hits high temperatures, it accelerates the effects of symptoms like Parkinson's and multiple sclerosis and Alzheimer's and a bunch of other different crazy type diseases. And what I read, and this was I think about 10 years ago when I read this report. And it was saying that the aspartame actually eat holes in your brain. Now, if you want to truly be mindless, that'll be one way to be mindless, because you won't have any hole. I mean, you won't have any brains, because it eat holes right into your brain. Now, overall, I guess that's a slow way to go, and some people don't really think of it as a major issue. But and then when it comes down to sucralose, you got sucrose and sucralose. They're kind of similar, but kind of both of them are still kind of bad. Okay, so and then the sucralose is a form of Splenda and the Splenda lookalikes. Those are a chlorine compound, and chlorine in high doses. They used to use that in, I believe, in like the Holocaust. They used to use chlorine bombs to kill off people. I believe. I don't know exactly, but that's what I was told. So. So that therefore, I just wanted to touch bases with some of these sweeteners, and even in a lot of regular stuff that we have, like high fructose corn syrup, that there is a lot worse. I mean, then sometimes we have to pick between all the odds that we have against us, but therefore, it's up to us to try to, see to it that, we make the best decision based on our circumstances. But that was just, food for thought. Now, I wanted to touch bases with the next subject, which is why. Now, why is a very intense question. Normally, I don't really like to touch bases with asking why, because it actually takes a lot longer in my way of thinking to actually answer a why question, because usually affiliated with why is stress. Now, people want to know why they end up in certain situations. And usually when they say, oh, why me? Why not you? Depending on how you have the view. I was having a conversation yesterday, and it was basically placed in front of somebody. It's like, you don't think you understand the situation, and then you want to know why this situation is closing in on you. Now, if the situation is closing in on you, it's closing in because you haven't really taken the time to figure out what it was that got you to that point. Now, if you're asking yourself why, I don't care how old you are, ask yourself what first. Ask yourself what it is you can do to make sure that a particular situation does not occur. So when you're stuck and you're saying why, so many people, kind of, misunderstand me because I kind of push away from why. But I realize, one thing that's more important than money to me is time, because once your time run out, you can't gain time back. So you make use of the time that you have right now. So if you take the time and say, okay, what it is that I can be doing at this moment, how can I accelerate from this point to the next point without any discrepancies in time? Because like, you need to make the most of your time, and you need to do it based on, um, you know, either circumstances. Sometimes it's fate. Now, some people look at their lives and they really can't um, put all the pieces together. Sometimes the pieces are scattered, you know, and sometimes, you know, your life is like a big puzzle, and you got to put the pieces together according to how your brain thinks. Sometimes you can fill in the midsections, right? But a lot of people have a tendency to start on the border edges because those border edges seem to be a little bit easier. So it all depends on how you want to do it. Now, there are people out here, you know, that basically had it very easy. It's a lot of things handed to them, you know. So the way could be paid for them prior to them even getting to that point. That's great. But then for the people that's on the wayside, you know, they need to understand that they need to take advantage of it. They need to take advantage of every opportunity. Sometimes the opportunities that we have are presented to us in different forms, and then we don't take advantage of the point in which, you know, these opportunities are presented. Now, sometimes some people, when they're young, you know, they see an opportunity and they run with it, and it works for them. Every person out here on the face of the earth has an opportunity. It could be, you know, how they used to say, when the stars align themselves. Okay, we can blame it on that. But maybe the stars did align themselves just for that moment, for you to actually, you know, become whatever it is you're searching to become. You know, some people want to be actors and actresses and, you know, folk singers and whatever, and do really well at it. But sometimes your time is at the time that you're there, at the moment that you're there, regardless of what it is. Now, some people look at those opportunities as maybe the glass was half empty. I mean, or glass is half full. You know, some look at it as half empty. It all depends on how you view your life, because sometimes, you know, just by saying, hey, that glass is what it is, and I'm going to take advantage of that probability just as it is. And that you taking advantage of it by somebody presenting an idea to you. A lot of times, you know, when I see people, you know, they'll bring up an idea, and I say, okay, what other thoughts do you have with that idea? And then, you know, sometimes some people could just offer me a word, and I can actually take that one word and create a whole story, a whole big movie in my head about that one word that one person actually had. And I'm like, hey, I can present this to you however way that you want to see it, because I can take any, I can't say any idea, but I can take a lot of ideas and turn it into, you know, one of the greatest stories people ever can hear. So you can be the same way. Anybody has the potential to reach for the stars, but you got to first train your brain. You got to train your brain to actually believe that you can. Because it was a motivational speaker when I was a kid. He's like, you know, you look in the mirror and you say, I think I can. This is the only way that you can accelerate, by believing in yourself. If you don't believe in you, nobody else will believe in you. And it's it's no hiding it. You know, you can't go out in public and always, you know, folding your arms. It displays, you know, insecurities, you know, and that's okay. I mean, we all have insecurities. It's okay. No big deal. But, you know, if you want to know why, the stars may not be aligning itself for you is because you haven't hit the switch. You got to hit a switch in your brain. I mean, I always say it. I say, if man made anything, it can be destroyed. It can be rebuilt. It can be, refurbished, or however many words you want to use. But you, as a person, can actually change, your life, or your what you think that you're destined to be. Some people don't believe, or it can even be the fact that people, you know, didn't have a good upbringing, or didn't have the parents that they thought, would be there to support them through a whole bunch of situations. But, you can still change that. You still got to push through, even though, things seem very depressing. I mean, people live on the street. Some people live on the street and still happier than a lot of people that's, walking through, working every day, but they're enjoying life, because sometimes, the most simplest things make some people happy, and some people are content with that. But long as that doesn't get you down and get you depressed, because depression can set in at any phase when you start to not believe in yourself again. But you got to understand what it is you need to be believing in. What do you think that you can go out here and achieve? If you believe that you can achieve it, it can be done. And most people don't believe in that. I mean, there are a lot of motivational speakers that I've listened to over time, and these motivational speakers didn't make it to the point that they are at just by taking somebody else's word for it, or just not believing in themselves. And even if they didn't believe in themselves at that point, they grew to a point where they could believe in themselves. So, you can't go through life saying, oh, I'll never make it, or I'll never do that, or I can't do that. Saying I can't, or I'll never do it, or I will not be able to do that, right? It automatically sets yourself up for failure. Now, most people look at the fact that they say, I don't want to fail, but it's the words that you actually program into your brain that actually make you the type of person that fail. It's those words. If you don't believe you can do it, it won't happen. I mean, sometimes that's why, putting yourself in the midst of the best people is important. Because sometimes, even though you don't believe in yourself, sometimes being in the midst of the right people, they can help you believe in yourself. So, as I was saying, it's like people want things to happen. And sometimes we bypass our opportunities because we don't know when they're presented to us. And I know that I've seen different occasions where I've personally, bypassed a lot of opportunities, and I jumped on some of them. I ran with them. Sometimes some of the factors in it, you may not understand some of the concepts. Sometimes just learning the concept of whatever that opportunity was, right? It gave me a little more stability in thought of how I utilized the information that I got from whatever source it was coming from. And sometimes you may not get 100% of whatever it was that you were looking for out of whatever opportunity it is, but it can build you and make you a stronger person. So, This why thing is what the topic is all about at this moment. And why is a good thing. Because sometimes you have to ask yourself why you want to achieve a bigger goal in life. Now, you want to ask yourself why, and you want to know what it is that's necessary to drive you, to push you further and further into you achieving a goal. Most people don't know how to set goals. Sometimes you have to set little small goals, one little goal at a time. So for right now, if I got 10 marbles on this side, and I got 100,000 marbles on this side, right? Okay, we got 100,000 marbles on this side, and you say, hey, I want 50,000 of those marbles. Okay, but you only have 10 on your side. How many times do you have to, go and march from this side to that side to get, 50,000 marbles? Well, sometimes you can march over one at a time. That's a goal. It's gonna take you longer to get 50,000 marbles, but at some point in time, you will attain 50,000 marbles. Now, you can accelerate that just by a thought process. Now, if you have a wheelbarrow, right? A little small wheelbarrow, just for food for thought, a little small wheelbarrow, and you can put 10 marbles in at a time. You're still going to get, or attain your goal of 50,000 marbles, and it's still going to take a long time, but not as long as if you're marching one marble at a time. So, say you get a dump truck, okay, a little small dump truck, and you say we're going to put 50,000 marbles in that dump truck, and it'll hold only 50,000 marbles. It only take you one time to go load up. The loading process may take a little bit longer, but you make one trip to the other side to get 50,000 marbles. Same thing is setting goals, right? Sometimes we take one step at a time. Sometimes we go in, we go in and grab a handful. Sometimes we go and grab a truckload. And this is the way you set your goals. This is the way you achieve your goals. And sometimes it's the path seems like it's hard, but you have to figure out what method works for you to achieve the goal. Maybe you want 100,000 marbles and all. That's the bigger goal, but that's the bigger picture. So it's all based on how you paint the picture in your head. So, if you don't see yourself even attaining one of the marbles, it will never happen. That means you already looked at the glass as half empty or half full, because either way, it's the same judgment. But if you see yourself, just gliding on through the glass without having any discrepancies on whether or not it's half full or empty, you can get whatever you want just by thinking. Now, we really need to take a little bit of time in judgment of how we see people, because sometimes it is meant for us to meet other people. And it's meant for us to meet people at a specific time, specific days, on a specific hour. Now, just because you may not understand, some people may not understand this at all, is that, we are here on this earth, and it's meant for us to meet with each other, even though you may not even have a clue who a person is. But 9 times out of 10, if you make eye contact with a person, 9 times out of 10, it's meant for you to make eye contact with them, because eventually, at some other point, you might actually see them again. And then you may end up having a conversation that you never thought you would ever have. See, because that's one of the things, right? For you to align yourself up with the next opportunity. So when you get out here and you see somebody, you say, hey, how's it going? See, that's one of the things that I didn't really understand the concept of when I was back home, because sometimes you can speak to people and people rob you. So it was just one of them things. So you didn't know if you was going to get robbed. You didn't know whether or not someone was going to kill you or whatever. It just happened, and you could just be speaking. So, but now, right, I understand as I got older, right, I speak to people, and that's one of the biggest things I learned, because, like, sometimes, people are due for a complete, career change or whatever, just by, talking or speaking to the right people. Sometimes we get caught in this one phase of life and think that one phase of life is going to, propel us throughout the future. Sometimes people work at jobs forever and ever and ever. That's the only thing they know, which is good, but you can just about say that they're the master of the profession that they know. But then therefore it goes back into that I know phase. So, they know their profession, but then sometimes knowing one profession, you close off yourself to other probabilities. And I know that those probabilities can be very beneficial. So, like I say, that's another part of being pessimistic and saying, "Oh no, the glass is half empty or half full." It's the people that close themselves off, and it usually happens. It was at a seminar, and they say usually after people hit 35, and then I think it's getting younger as time goes on, but people get stuck into one way of thinking, and it's hard for people to be coachable. It's hard for people to even want to know a new concept of life, and you're afraid of change, because if change occurs, then they won't be comfortable. And see, sometimes being a little bit too comfortable can throw you off your bases and you miss your opportunity. Closing your mind to every other aspect of life will actually leave you on the back burner, just burning. And it means that you miss the opportunity. You miss your boat. You miss the plane that's going in the direction that you want to go. But sometimes, as you get older, right, you still have to understand that change is always going to occur. And if you don't, learn to change with time, you're going to be stuck in a time warp. And nobody really wants to be stuck in a time warp. And it's kind of like saying, back in the 70s when everybody wore platform shoes and, bell bottoms, right? That we should never, ever change that style. Because if we never, ever change that style, everybody will still be wearing platforms and bell bottoms with afros or, curly hair and long, mustaches and beards and all kinds of stuff. Nobody will ever change. Everybody will be the same. It's almost saying like you're just cloned to be the same individual for the rest of your life. And the same is true for what we do now. So I really would like people to think of what it is that they can do to change some of the things that they think. You don't have to change everything. Just change some of the things that you think. And you will see that, a lot of different things start to occur just because of the simple things that you've done. by changing the way you think in your head. Therefore, all of your why questions will end up what questions. And those what questions will propel you a lot further and a lot faster, because you're going to start taking action on the things that you do at the moment. In the present moment is what and where you should be at to make change occur for you. So instead of asking why, okay, well, there could be a lot of different reasons why. I mean, maybe you didn't know. Maybe you did know, but you chose not to take action. You chose not to put forth any effort. If by chance that you're preoccupied with watching television, opposed to, going out and mowing the lawn, or even cooking dinner for the night. I mean, if you think the television is actually going to cook your supper for the night, then I don't know what to say for you. But if you think you can get up and put yourself into action, that's what you're doing at that moment. You're getting up, putting yourself into action, and then things start to occur for you. Your supper is starting to be prepared. If you think about it early enough, right? Supper could be prepared before you even, really get done with your breakfast meal. Or while you're sitting there preparing breakfast, supper could be being cooked, and you don't even have to worry about it for the rest of the evening, because all you got to do is go back and heat it up. Or maybe it may take that amount of time, depending on what you're cooking. But you got to put things in action. It's what you do at that moment that you're in will cover the rest of your day. So if by chance you're sitting down playing video games instead of working on your car, the video games are not gonna fix your car. You got to get up, and it's what you're doing. You got to get up and do it yourself. Or you got to get up, if you don't know how to repair your car, okay, now you got to figure out what it is you're going to, or what kind of actions you're going to take to get your car fixed. So either way, it's whatever you're doing at that moment that's going to help you get there. Now, why your car is broke, we may not ever know. And it could be a multiple, or array of different things, that may be wrong with your car, and how you're going to get that done, right? That's the stress factors of why. Now, if by chance you need to, go find a job, the job is not going to come find you if you're sitting on the couch being a couch potato. It just don't happen. I mean, like, I remember one time I was out in California, and I went out every day. High ambition. It's hot. Palm trees seemed like they were 50 feet tall, so you couldn't get shade, right? But I just wanted a job. I wanted to work. I can say in the time that I was there, I filled out 50 applications, right, to a bunch of different places. I mean, multiple places in the mall, all over everywhere, right? And it just didn't seem like, finding a job was even possible. I was like, they got the job market gridlocked. And I was kind of disappointed, because I really liked being in the area of California that I was in. But what I found is that I got up, regardless to what, and I got out. And it was my actions that got me out there. Yes, I didn't find a job, but I was out there. And I did whatever I had to do to try to get a job. But apparently, sometimes the stars don't align themselves. And I wasn't like completely discouraged because I still had, other opportunities that, you know, presented itself for me to maintain, whatever I was doing. And I utilized those probabilities, until I saw a way out. And be it the fact that I wasn't finding any of the jobs that I was looking for, I ended up, taking a trip back across the country. I ended up back here in the state of Maine. And, um, I went through the cycle. And the cycle was I came here, got a job, did whatever, worked, always worked hard. But it just wasn't fulfilling. So I couldn't stop there. I was making some money, and making some money is good. But then somewhere in there, you still have to feed your brain. Feed your brain to, be a little bit better, to do a little bit more. Because every time you feed your brain and do a little bit more, right, you're educating yourself, but you're putting a lot of value in yourself. So therefore, you make yourself like gold, right? Where everybody wants to be around you. See, because the more um, stability that you have in yourself, or the more confidence you have in yourself. Maybe you may not think it's confidence. I mean, being humble is cool, and then sometimes out of being humble, you still have confidence, and it's kind of weird because some of that just flows like water. Because you don't have. I mean, being confident doesn't mean that you're cocky or that you're arrogant. Just being confident meaning that you're competent of doing or knowing that you can do, multiple different things, and you don't have to sit back and wait on anybody else to do those things for you. That's one thing I learned, that, it is not, when people look at you, it's not that some people actually believe that you're arrogant. I mean, a lot of people may think I'm arrogant, but a lot of times I like to sit in the background and just watch everybody else. But I know a lot of times I know what I'm doing. I know how to do whatever I need to do, and then therefore, when people come through and they doubt my abilities, I'm more happy to know that they doubt me, and I don't really have to prove anything to them either. So it may display itself as arrogance, but I don't really need other people's opinions about me when I know the things I know. And that's the same thing, you will be doing for yourself, is when you start building and you start gaining more knowledge in certain areas, a lot of times you need to just be like a sponge and just soak it all up. Therefore, whatever information that you get, you're utilizing that later for different purposes, and then therefore you gain confidence. You get confidence. You become competent because you know the things you know. This is going to make you an awesome person, and some people end up very arrogant because of their competency, because they're competent in a lot of different areas, and yeah, you can be very arrogant, but sometimes that confidence, just don't be too arrogant, because then that make people not like you. But with that confidence, right, it draws people to you. And it is, a book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. Read that book. That book is a really interesting book, And if you ever want to know anything, right, you can contact me at enjoyyourlife4313 at gmail.com. And that book, again, is How to Win Friends and Influence People. It's really important because a lot of people don't understand that, having the right friends can excel you as well. but that actually help build your confidence as well, right? And good friendships you don't want to ruin, because real good friends are hard to find. So as for um, anything else, we do really enjoy um, the thoughts that come about, because these thoughts, out of all the things that I ever try to do, I try to make sure that these thought processes, because a lot of people get confused, and there's a lot of kids out here that um, they kind of feed off themselves, off each other. Sorry, but they feed off each other, and they really don't have enough experience in life. They experience the things that they experience, and we all were kids at some point, and even as adults, we forget what the process of being a kid is. Now, the thing of it is, right, is if you're a kid, right, I want you to be able to look at this show and say, hey, that topic right there actually helped me, to get a clear understanding of what I'm trying to do. Not that I'm trying to be an adult, because a lot of adults out here are not even adults. They really want to be kids, but the responsibility outweigh the probability of playing a lot. So, life could be stressful. And then that's when the adults seem to know it all. Sometimes adults don't know. They just don't know. And they guess at a lot of stuff. I guess at stuff. But most of the stuff that I talk about here on the show, I know. And I'm not arrogant about what I know. I just know that I try to make very few mistakes, because making mistakes causes you to have to go and replicate the same pattern or style over again. So you end up wasting time. And that's one thing I don't like to do, is waste time. I don't want to waste your time. I don't want to waste my time. So if I can give you an idea or a topic that'll help you, propel you for your future, I would love to give you that. And that's the only way that I can see that I'm helping anybody on this earth. Because I like to help people, but I like to help people that want to help themselves. And sometimes if people don't want to help themselves, right, if they give me a slight thought that they really want to do something or change something about what they do or their life or somebody else's life, then I will do what it takes to see to it that I can give them at least a little bit, so they can make it to that point. So sometimes, turning your head to other people just because, they're not, who you may want them to be, or because you don't think they fit your criteria, right? Sometimes helping them out, they could come back further down the road, and they can be helping you out when you thought you were a lot better than them. I like to help people that I see, even if somebody came up to me and was like, hey, um, I just need $5 to buy me some beer. The person was honest. I just gotta say, I'll give you the $5. I'm not gonna go buy the beer for you, but I'll give you the $5. You do what you want to do with it. That's what I mean. It just may have been that person's day. It was a bad day, But who knows? You might see that person again 15 years from now. They could be doing way better than you ever thought, but they turn back around and offer you a helping hand to try to help you get to the next stage of life. So let's not ever pass up our opportunities, and make the best of being here on this earth together. We all got to be here. Like I say, I'm your host, Jermaine, of the Main No Doubt Show. You can contact me at enjoyyourlife4313 at gmail.com. Thank you all. You have a great day.